Okay, everybody, welcome. Today is July 21st, 2021. I almost didn't do this live stream today because I was so wrapped up in what happened in NBA Finals. I got many opinions on that, but let me say congratulations to the Milwaukee Bucks for getting their first title in 50 years. I'm gonna leave it at that. Okay, everybody, welcome, welcome, welcome. It's the live stream that many of you guys have been waiting for. I know some of you have been holding on to property for a long time because you don't know how to sell shit. Well, today I'm gonna talk all about marketing. I'm gonna talk about my techniques and then more importantly, the three cardinal sins that there's a good chance that you're breaking and the reason why your property is not moving. All right, so think about this. Think about this, right? You get a land investing course, you're very excited. They're like, oh, it's so easy to get property. It's so easy to maneuver and find people willing to sell. And it is. It really is. It's one of the easiest things that you can do. It's surprisingly easy. It's so easy. People think that there's some kind of trick or there's some kind of catch once it happens. Like, wait a minute. Wait, what? And as you see, it really is that simple. It is how it seems to be. It's not too good to be true. It's easy. However, what a lot of people they don't show you is actually how to sell the property. Now, most people who are teaching the land stuff, they've gone beyond the smaller or medium-sized deals, and they're exclusively doing the larger deals. Not saying that they don't do the smaller deals because they know they can make money with it, but they don't focus there. And they have like such a large audience and a large following, or there's a lot of leads and customers that they can talk to. It's easy to sell property at that point. And at one point, you will be there too. You stick in this game long enough, you cultivate your leads long enough, you too will be at that point where you don't have to work as hard to get sales. But there's still going to be work to be had. But it's, in general, you can rely on your reputation and your track record to get more people to buy from you because, that's just how, this thing works. But what about those who are just starting out? What about those people who are trying to really get their foot in this industry? What about those people who've been in it for a while, but they're tired of just getting the small payments? So this live stream is for you, the new people, and those who are like, well, I could only sell to other land investors or to the food stamp crowd. And in my opinion, when you wholesale to another land investor, you basically gave up. You punked out because you don't know what the fuck you're doing. So you're like, oh shit, I got this lot. I don't know how to sell it. Hopefully somebody else will take it off my hands because I don't know what I'm doing. And you're happy to get the measly 10 or 20 bucks. So this is the normal wholesale situation. You buy a lot, let's just say for sake of argument, 200 bucks. You're hoping to sell that lot for $2,000, right? So you're going, you put it out there, no one's biting, you're wondering why no one's taking off your hands, you're starting to get nervous, you realize, oh shit, no one's going to buy this from me. What am I going to do? Oh, I know, I'll sell it to another land investor. You sell it to them for, I don't know, 400 or 500 bucks, plenty of meat on the bone, and you say, okay, cool, I made my money out of it, I'm good, I'm happy. But in reality, you're not that happy because you were expecting to make $2,000 and you only got, 500, and so a total profit of like 200 or 300 bucks. I don't even know if it's even worth your time at that point to sell for such a low price. Now, most people they do this. Why? Because they don't know how to sell to their general market. I mean, let's be honest. Go ahead and put this in the chat. If you're able to actually sell to another land investor or just a regular consumer, which would you pick? The land investor wants us to pay you very little because they're looking for deals. The consumer is willing to pay retail. Which will you pick? The land investor may be a little bit more picky and want more white glove service. The retail would take a retail customer. Maybe they want white glove service, maybe not. It depends on the buyer. Which will you pick? I can't speak for you, but for me, 9 times out of 10, I want to sell it to the consumer. I'm going to get more money. I'm going to get another chance for a testimonial, and everything is going to be good. With another land investor, who knows, right? And I always got to take care of my guys, so I got to cut them on the price. I don't got to do that with retail customers. All right. So let me give you guys the story real quick, though. This is how this all became apparent to me. I started doing land investing. I was doing in northern Nevada, in Eureka County and Elko County, and that area. And since that was my first taste of land investing, I got pretty comfortable pretty quickly to get the data I needed to find out how to build a list, how to contact people, how to talk to the county, etc. Now, as I'm selling these properties, I realized, yeah, I'm getting them for cheap, but not many people are buying. They're not really flying off the shelves. So as I'm talking to certain leads and I'm putting stuff on Craigslist and I'm doing this and that, someone's like, hey, do you guys land in Pahrump? Like, where the hell's Pahrump? Oh yeah, Pahrump. It's not too far from this little place called Las Vegas. Have you ever heard of Las Vegas? I'm like, oh no, of course I have. But in general, I'm like, okay, Pahrump. Interesting. All right, well, no one's buying these properties that I have here. Eventually they did sell, but they're not buying as quickly. And I have a person here and maybe another person there asking for Pahrump. Maybe I should go to Pahrump. So I check out Pahrump, their online presence from the county and all that, and it seems to be pretty cool. Very similar system to what I was used to in the northern Nevada counties. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? Let's go for it. I'm just going to buy some property. I send out a couple mailers. I get some people interested, and lo and behold, I buy a tiny lot. I think the lot was 0.11 acres, so 0.11 acres, so very small. And I spent about 1,100 bucks for it. Like I've never spent that much money for a property up until that point, and I've never had a property that small up until that point. So I'm like, but it's fine. I'm about to sell in Pahrump. It's cool. I got the area that people were asking for. I heard more than one person ask for it. I'm ready to go. I go back to that one person, one of the people who asked for land in Pahrump. They don't reply. Another person asked, like, oh yeah, no, I'm not interested anymore. Another person, oh, it's too small for me. I'm like, oh shit, what do I do? So, I do what a lot of people do. I flood Craigslist with a bunch of useless ads, the posting domination. Some of you guys have heard that phrase before. And I spammed it. I spammed Craigslist. I was one of those spammers, right? So I had a bunch of ads on Craigslist and I tried to, I would change things up, you know, lot in Pahrump, vacant lot in Pahrump, beautiful lot near Vegas, and so on and so forth. You go, you click it, it's the same pictures, more or less the same ad. And I put ad in quotes because it really wasn't much of an ad, and nobody's buying. I remember hearing about a guy, he couldn't sell a lot, so he went to eBay and was able to sell it then. I'm like, oh, maybe eBay would be the secret. Maybe I could sell it on eBay. I put on eBay, again, there's a couple leads here and there, but no one's really buying. And so I get one lead, and this lead changed my life. And he's like, listen, man, the price you have is all wrong. The lot you have kind of sucks, but I'm still willing to buy it. I'll give you 900 bucks for this lot. I'm thinking, no, I paid 1,100. I'm like, no, man, this lot's worth about $5,000. I know I'm going to get my price, this and that. He's like, okay, we'll see. Um, Not long later, I realized that this dude was right. I talked to him. He's like, look, man, I've been selling land in Pahrump for many years. I know what the land is worth. Look, I can help you. I can tell you probably took one of those courses. They didn't teach you how to sell. They didn't teach you how to market. And now you're struggling, right? I'm like, yeah. And now you're broke. Well, I got my regular job, but this ain't like, I'm like, but yeah. I'm like, okay. So I end up giving him the lot for his coaching services. And as I said, it changed my life. This is my mentor, Ken Dinkins. He's actually done a lot for me. When I got reintroduced to land investing in 2020, he's the one that gave me the few tricks and tips that I teach now. Obviously, I went my own direction with it, but like the basis and my mindset is all developed from his teachings. So with that said, I realize there's a lot of people out there who don't know how to sell and market, right? Raise your hand or write in the comments or like or whatever if you've had a hard time selling property that you thought would be easy. Go ahead, put in the comments now. I can't really check right now, but I'll check later. Now, there are times that I realized everybody was making the same mistakes that I am. There are three mistakes. I'm about to go into them right now, and I'm also going to show you what to do about them. All right. So if that sounds valuable to you, let me know in the comments. Say so right now. Put in the chat. Do you want to know those three mistakes that you might be making right now and how to fix them? And even if you aren't making those mistakes, how you can make your marketing like better? Let me know right now. You ready? I don't hear it. All right. All right. So let's get into it. First thing that you need to understand is that the better the property you have, the easier it's going to sell. So if I have some beachfront property in Hawaii that is, a large lot, it's not going to take much for me to sell that. However, a lot of us are getting lots, infill lots, we're getting small lots in the middle of the desert or whatnot. They're not as desirable as like a beachfront property in a desirable location. So we have to be better at marketing. We also got to be better at marketing and getting a property in the first place. So The first three of the cardinal sins that you might be making is the reason why you're not making any money in the land investing business. You don't know the area. How are you going to sell something you don't know anything about? Now, I can't speak for you, but when I was selling property in the northern Nevada area or in Pahrump, I knew very little except I knew it was by desert and I knew Pahrump is by Vegas. That is it. I didn't know why people liked that area. I didn't know anything about the people in the area. I didn't know anything about the attractions in the area or what people like to do in the area. I didn't know the demographics of I knew nothing. And all of a sudden now I'm trying to sell people property out there. Come on, come on. All right. So because I didn't know the area, guess what? I was overcharging. Why did I overcharge? Well, because I didn't know the area when I first bought that first property for 1100, I didn't know what I should be paying for the lot. It turns out I probably should have paid for that particular lot about 300 bucks. But in general, because I did about 30 or 40 lots after that, the average price is about 400 or 500 bucks. I paid more than twice that, and most of the sizes I was getting was bigger than that tiny lot. So I'm like, okay, I should have known the area a little bit better. Shame on me. Now, when you don't know the area, write this down. You don't know the prices. That means you don't know what you should be paying and you don't know what it's going to sell for. When you don't know the area, you don't even do any research to know if the area is even any good to invest in. It's different if a deal falls in your lap in an unknown area. Yeah, you can take it, all land sells. But if you're not ready to spend a lot of time in that area selling it, knowing the features, talking to the county, this and that, you're not ready to invest. I'm gonna ask you a question. Answer this in the chat or in the comments. If I told you there's a hot stock tip, and I'm like, this baby's about to shoot to the moon, or there's a new cryptocurrency, it's about to shoot to the moon, will you just take my word for it? Or would you actually do a little research and try to find out if what I'm saying makes sense? Now, a broke investor would just take your word for it. They're looking for the next lottery ticket, and they'll just like, oh yeah, I heard this is good, I'm gonna do it. A savvy investor would actually hear what was being said and actually look into it a little bit further to verify. And hey, it may still be a good investment, but maybe it's not a good investment for me, for my style of investment, what I like to do. I was a broke investor. So I was like, oh, somebody said Pahrump is where it's at. I'm going for Pahrump. And because of that, that made things very tough. Now, obviously, I didn't know the pros and cons of the area. For example, in Pahrump in particular, getting water where I was getting land was very difficult. Now, if I knew that beforehand, that may have kept me out of the area. Probably not, because most lots are it's hard to get water in many places. But I would have learned how I can get around that. I would have learned to, overcome the different difficulties and setbacks. But I didn't know the area. I didn't know the pros and cons. I didn't know about the good stuff about the area. For example, Pahrump has one of the biggest gun range like training facilities like in the country. If I would have known that, I could have angled my marketing towards that. But I didn't know the area. I didn't know what I was getting into, and it made things very tough to sell. Right now, with that said, I didn't know any selling points. What are people going to be excited about? Even to have the big gun range, for example, or wherever your land is, mountains, hiking, boating, hunting, fishing, whatever. Do people in that area like that stuff? Most cases, yeah, but maybe what if they don't? What if that's not the cool thing they like? What if they just like the low cost of living? What if people are older, so they don't like to be outdoors, but then the climate is nice? You see what I'm saying? You got to know the pros and cons of the area before you do anything. This is before you even buy the damn lot. Knowing all of this can help you understand why are people asking for certain prices on the retail market. So as you're doing your research, you're like, okay, I see I can buy a lot for $10,000. I can see I can buy a lot for 8,000. I can buy a lot for 20,000. And you start to understand what's really going on. And once you see that, you're starting to paint a picture in your mind. Okay, I see why people like this area or why a certain type of person will like this area. I think there's enough people out there that will fit this profile. I'm definitely going to invest here. I'm gonna start doing it, but I cannot spend more than whatever it is because I can only sell for 8,000 or 6,000 or 5,000 or whatever the research tells you. You gotta know the area. You don't know the area, you can't sell it. Like trying to sell something blind, you just can't do it. All right. Now the second mistake that a lot of people make when they're doing their marketing They don't know the market. Oh, bad at that. Now, this kind of goes with they don't know the area. So the area is just the actual features and benefits of living there or being there. The market is basically the people who actually want to buy. Now, you don't most times you don't most people don't look up the population demographics. Are more people moving into that general vicinity, or are they leaving that area, or has it remained stagnant? If so, what are the ages of those people? If they're leaving, or if they're coming, or if it's stagnant, you know, cultural background, what type of festivals and things like that they may be celebrating. Like maybe in Texas, there's like this barbecue cook-off that people are excited about. And so there's a certain type of person that would like to be in that area full time or have it for the summer or whatever it is. Maybe it's something to do with some other recreational activity that's outdoors, right? Knowing the market. You also want to know how much of the people in that market are they high income or are they low income? Kind of makes a difference, doesn't it? Sure, you might be able to find a property that's worth $50,000, but if everybody in the area can only afford a $10,000 property, is the investment worth it? And if so, how are we going to convey that message to the people? Does that make sense? Make sure that this is making sense. If it doesn't make sense, please ask a question. I will get to your question soon. Okay. You also got to know what people actively want currently. Certain places people want no restrictions. They want to put a mobile home and trailer on the property and junk it up and do what they want because it's their slice of America. Other places, people don't want that type of crowd. They want an HOA. They want people to protect their property values. They want other neighbors that's going to keep the lots clean and make everything look good so their property values stay high. Know what they want and then know how much they got to spend, right? Know how they talk, the slang, the jargon, what's important to them, what's not. If you want to get in that messy political arena, you have a stronger stomach than I do for that stuff, then by all means, use that to help you understand the people in the area or those who may be from a different area who will want to move there or at least own property there. When you don't know your market, how are you going to sell it to them? That's like me walking into, I'm like, hey, I got a bag of ice to sell. Let me try to sell that at the North Pole. It ain't going to work. Like, Lou, why would you try to sell me this? I got all the ice I can need. Like, did you do any research beforehand? And I'm like, no, I just knew there's a lot of ice there and I thought you guys might want more. No, that's stupid. All right. Know the market. It's very important. Now, one last part about knowing the market. Your market will dictate where you advertise your property. So certain markets do better with Craigslist, others do better with Facebook Marketplace, others do even better with Zillow, and some do better with the fancier places like land.com, Lands of America, etc. You got to know what works for you and your market. If you don't know, you're going to be talking to the wrong people. The wrong people are the ones who are not going to buy. They may call you, they may ask about the property, but they're not going to check it out. And if they do check it out, they may not have the cash to buy. When we don't know the area and we don't know the market, this is why a lot of people turn to terms, meaning they're doing owner financing because they're like, I don't, I can't sell it in a way. And then the owner financing terms are not favorable, meaning, hey, just give me $100 down and 100 a month. We'll figure it out. And now they're paying you for a million years. And that's after they negotiated down the price. I've done this before. It's a bad place to be. It's funny. Before I move on to the third cardinal sin, I had a property in California that it took forever to sell. I had ended up selling to a felon for that 100 down, 100 a month, and he wouldn't even do it online. I would have to drive out to him to collect his little money, and then it was hard to get him to keep paying me. Once I learned these skills, I was able to then sell it right away for cash. So it's the same property, different skills. I was able to make it happen. All right, now. And in that situation, I stopped selling on Craigslist and I sold it on Zillow and went much faster. And I knew exactly what to say on Zillow. So far, is this making sense? Is this useful to you guys? Are you finding this good? Is this something that you can start to implement in your marketing right now? Just those two pieces of information. Is that making sense? Because now I'm gonna tie those two pieces together with the third cardinal sin, and you'll see what I mean. And that third cardinal sin is this: you don't know the value of the land or of what you got, really. Remember, if you did this right, you bought an asset for pennies on a dollar. So you got something that was worth thousands of dollars, you bought it for hundreds. So now you're going to sell it for what it's worth. A lot of times we don't know that. Sometimes we overvalue the property. So like in my case, I thought I could sell a piece of crap, lot in the desert where you can't get water to for $4,000 or $5,000. If I would have known that before, I wouldn't have paid $1,100. I wouldn't have advertised it in a fancier place, on a fancier website. I have to know the value. I have to know the different. So since I know the area and I know the market, I will know the value, and that's going to help me understand what types of things to say to them. This is how it all ties together. So because I know my market, I know what they say, I know what they like, I know what they want to hear. I know the area, I know the demographics, I know all that. Now I can put myself in their mind. I can say the thing that's going to help them understand. And we'll get into exactly what to say momentarily, but when I know the value, I can convey that properly. Again, because I know what I have and I know the type of people that want it and I know how to speak to them directly from the little bit of research that I've done, right? Sometimes you might right now be looking to pay, you think you can get $8,000 for a crappy piece of land where I can go on the retail market and buy for 3. You don't know your value, right? Sometimes you may know what the right price should be, but then your terms or your owner financing is ridiculous. You want to charge documentation fees and handling fees and other bullshit. No one wants to do that. Why? Reason why is because you don't know how to sell, so you're trying to make up money as quickly as you can because you couldn't get it in cash in the first place. That's why you're putting that documentation bullshit on there. Personally, I don't do that, and I think it's a little manipulative. But it's your business. You do what you want, right? Sometimes you want too little of a down payment because you don't know your value, and that little down payment scares away other buyers. Like, oh, there must be something wrong. Who the hell only wants $100 down on a property? You don't know your value. You don't know what you got. All it does is just scream low value crap. Like this must be on some like ancient Indian burial ground or a toxic waste dump or something. All right. Or maybe what you're saying, your marketing, your words not talk to the people who should be buying, and you talk to a low income crowd that can't afford your property, but you want to call them tire kickers. It's actually your fault for getting them all riled up about property that they shouldn't be looking into because you don't know how to talk to the people who do have the money to pay you to buy the property right away. All right. Now, so far, you guys see the 3 cardinal sins. I'm going to go over them again real quick. One, you don't know the area, so you don't know anything about the property, where you should even buy it in the first place, and the benefits and the features of the area. Number 2, you don't know the market, you don't know the people in there, you don't know what they want, you don't know what they're looking for, you don't know how they talk, so you can't communicate with them effectively. And number 3, you don't know your value. You either want too much or too little. You're saying weird things. You're scaring off the wrong people. You're scaring off the right people to attract the wrong people. This is why you ain't making sales. So far, have you been blessed with good information? Let me know because I got a lot more to talk about and I have very little time. And in fact, I'm trying to squeeze a lot of different lessons I have in my land investing group, the modules I teach, into a short little live stream, but I do what I can. And I don't know if you guys are chatting or not because I'm on the Zoom side and I can't see shit, but whatever. All right. So now, before we end this, what should you do, right? Obviously, know your market, know your area, and know your value. Obviously. So, first thing, write this down. Learn your market. So, think about this, and you can look this up on Google. It hasn't been easy. This is why it's so easy to do this business because everything is right at your fingertips. You have an internet connection. You have the ability to find out the information you need to help you make money. First, what type of people want land where you have it or where you're planning to get it? What type of people? Are they outdoorsy? They're desert-like people. They like the rainforest. They like hiking in the mountains. They like hiking in the woods. They like being in the water. What type of people? Why do they want land there? Do they want to live there to build a house, summer vacation, recreational purposes, just a place to camp on every now and then? Or maybe it's just a guy who likes to get real estate and hopes that one day his real estate investment will pay off. What type of people like it? Right? You're starting to paint a picture of an avatar of someone you can speak to, like, okay, this is how I'm going to talk to them. Because the same way you talk to your best friend, differently than you talk to your spouse, differently you talk to your mother, differently you talk to your boss or your employer. You got to do that with the people you're going to be marketing to. Now, Think about what they're going to do with the property. Again, recreational, put a house on it, etc. And think about how much income do they have? How much can they pay? So again, if you're in an area where you can actually get a $50,000 property because from the size of it alone, but most people out there can't afford that, it's going to be tough to sell. It's going to be tough to sell. So you have to figure out other things. Maybe subdivide it up. You know, maybe sell it to somebody else. Find a realtor or something. Whatever. Number two, you got to learn to write some ads. Your ad copy sucks. I haven't seen your ads, but I can guarantee you it sucks. I've seen enough of them out there. The good news is it's not that hard to learn. There's books out there, two books I recommend. Hypnotic Writing, Dan Patel, I think that's his name, who wrote it. Great book. Advertising, another great book. Or hell, take a course, an online internet course about how to write copy. It's not that hard. It just takes practice. You get used to it, and then the copywriting skills will actually help you be more persuasive in your everyday life. Um, Now, not just writing ads, know how to write the ad for the platform that you're advertising on. For example, Craigslist, you want some detail, but not too much. Zillow, you want a very small amount of information. On your website, you want to be able to sell the dream. Facebook Marketplace, sell the dream. Now, why small amounts in some areas and large amounts of info in others? Well, certain places like Zillow, you don't get a large area for text. And when I used to try to squeeze in a bunch of text in there, people couldn't read it. It was just a wall of text. It was just too hard to read. And besides, places like Zillow, places like Craigslist, people are actually out looking for what you got. They don't need to be sold on the property. They just going, this is what the 3 things they want to know. Write this shit down. Where is it? How much? Is it a good deal? That's all they care about. So just give them that. That is it. And if they're interested, they will call you. Okay. But when you're in other places, you got to sell the dream a little bit. Let them know what's so cool about the area, what you can do with the property, this and that. Sometimes you might want to add that anyway, just so to cut down on the dumb questions. But that's what your website is for. Uh, Third, see where your target market likes to buy. Do they like Facebook? Now, usually in my experience, it goes. This is the order of importance, or I guess if you have from lower price property to higher price property. Facebook, Craigslist, Zillow, and then LandWatch, Lands.com, Lands of America, specialty sites where you have to pay to advertise. Facebook is because anybody's going to be on Facebook, whether they're looking for land or not. So, you're going to cast a wide net, but you're going to also catch a lot of garbage as leads. Craigslist, people are actually searching for it, but who knows the seriousness or their intent or the amount of money they have ready to go. That's good. Zillow, that's everybody knows that's where realtors go and all that. So more serious people are going to be looking there as they're doing their search. And Lands of America, lands.com and all that. Those are people, they just want land for whatever reason, to build on, to have a ranch, whatever. So yeah, those first three, Facebook, Craigslist, and Zillow, they're free. You can use services to post for you, or you can do LandWatch, which is a paid membership. Number four, your pictures probably suck. Does that mean you got to go to the actual property and take pictures? No, but that could help. But I've never done that. Take better pictures from Google Maps, Google Earth, from the GIS website. Do a nice outline of the property so you know exactly where it is. Show a Google Maps link where here's the property, here's the nearest big thing, big city, big attraction, big body of water, whatever it is. Help people understand what they're getting into before they even get into it, so that they know whether or not they should call you. All right. Fifth, learn to follow up. Like, people come in thinking that the lead is going to be ready to buy a first phone call. That never happens. Never ever happens. You got to follow up. And as you're following up, you're finding out more about what their interests are, what their desires are, what they plan to do with the property. And then so you can actually understand what other people will want, so you can start to add that to your marketing. It's that easy. It is simple. It really is that simple. And last thing, the better the property you have, the easier it's going to be to sell. But these principles work especially well for properties that don't move as quickly, because you got to do a little bit more legwork on the front end, but it will pay off. Most people aren't doing this, and they're wondering why it takes 6 months to sell a goddamn property. Now listen, I'm out of time. It's 12:30. But as you can see, I really studied this stuff. I struggled with this. I had to really learn and figure things out, get yelled at, and and all that. And now I feel pretty good about my marketing. I'm actually very excited to talk about this stuff, but you can see there's so many little points and details. Now, if you found something useful out of this talk and you're ready to go implement this in your ads now, go do it. You're gone. I hope it works for you. And if it does, let me know. Now, if you hear this, you're like, shit, this sounds pretty good, but there's so much that I don't know. There's so much that I want to learn. There's so many details I would like to ask about. Well, I have an invitation for you, right? If you're ready to implement right now, I want you to actually reach out to me because the details that you're seeking, I do show in my land investing group. There's a lot of them. Now, here's the thing. I show you a bunch of different stuff. So the bottom line is you can sell property very, very quickly. You heard the story of Mark. Sold his first property. He went full cycle in 5 weeks. He had his property up for 2 days. The neighbor ended up finding the property and bought it. That doesn't happen on accident. Everybody who learns my systems, they learn how to sell much more quickly. They learn what the hot buttons are to push so they can get people to take action when they're sitting on the fence. They realize that, hell, they may not have gotten the price right originally, and there's wiggle room to adjust it to make people actually take action. There's a lot of things you can do. There's ways you can talk to people to make them realize, like, yeah, this property is worth more than I thought it was. I have no problem paying that price. Or hell, if I'm going to do owner financing, I don't mind paying more because this property is a steal and I gotta have my hands on it. If this stuff is something that you want to learn and you want to implement right now, I invite you to book a call with me. I will let you know how you can do this and so much more. There's a lot that goes to it. And guess what? I even talk about the sales part. What to actually say when people actually call you up. How to help people make the best decision for them so they actually can move forward. How to make sure you get paid quickly so you can actually deliver the product, the land quickly. There's so much to this that I can't just squeeze it in a couple live streams. So with that said, stop holding on the lots for months. Stop trying to get nickel and dime out of people because you don't know how to sell with dumbass doc fees and shit like that. Be out there to help people get property who probably couldn't get it any other way. Don't be out there to be a greedy bastard. And I guarantee you, if you use these things I'm talking about, everything's gonna go smoother. You're gonna have a lot more fun in land. You don't have to work as hard. You're gonna be able to get more sales so you can do more deals, so you can actually get closer to quitting that job, to buying that thing, to paying for that wedding, to moving to a new house, to whatever it is that you got in the land for. You practice these skills, you will get there. And one last thing, these skills don't just work in land. This marketing stuff I talk about, it works with everything. That's all I got. If you want to know more, book a call with me. Just say in the comments, hey, coach, how do I book a call? I'll PM you. We can talk, see if what I have to offer is right for you. Other than that, it's Coach Vic signing off. I appreciate you. I'm glad you're here. Hopefully you found this information useful. But until next week, peace